This is an excellent grammar lesson to make you sound more advanced in English, especially if you are at a B2 level trying to reach a C1 level, or even if you are already a C1, if you're becoming more comfortable with different conversations, different structures in English, and you want to study or review inversion in English. So stay with me until the end, and I also prepared an exercise to make you practice, because to learn a lesson, I must use it. I am teacher Prix, by the way, and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Consider subscribing to the channel, because every week I post different kinds of English lessons to make you become a better and more confident English speaker. So I appreciate it. And if you're coming back for more, thank you so much. Sound more advanced with inversion. I will give you explanations, the most popular inversions. This is actually a lesson that I would have to divide into different parts. I'm not going to cover every explanation and possible inversions. I'm going to cover some. If you're interested, I can come back for more, okay? I can bring more lessons, but what I'm going to show you here will be more than enough. And something that I always teach my students is that grammar is supposed to make you speak, to make you talk. It's not just about doing an exercise. There are so many good books. I don't have, the book is far away from me now, I can't get it. But there are so many grammar books and so many grammar exercises. But my intention with grammar lessons, this is something I teach my students in my academy, is that to learn a lesson, I must use it. So whenever you learn a grammar subject, an explanation, you gotta use the lesson. That's what I teach my sardines. That's how I call my students in my academy. My baby sardines, I teach them to create. So grammar should make you speak. After watching this lesson, try to create your examples and connect the examples with your life. With the students in my programs, the academy, my main program, I give them grammar lessons, vocabulary lessons, and the next exercise they're supposed to do is create examples. Now, that being said, I want you to watch a short video, okay? I'm gonna play a very short video, and I want you to pay attention to his language, and you have to answer this question to me. Two questions. Well, one question. Is he being formal, or is he trying to sound smart? Pay attention to the visual and tell me if, in your opinion, he is sounding formal, he's trying to sound formal, or he's trying to sound smart. I'll play the video, you make your own conclusions.
I mean, rarely does an image capture someone's personality so good.
One more time.
I mean, rarely does an image capture someone's personality so good.
One more time.
I mean, rarely does an image capture someone's personality so good.
So what do you think? In the video, he says, I'm going to read it to you. I mean, rarely does an image capture someone's personality so good. So in your view, is he trying to sound formal, or is he trying to sound smart? Now, that's a good question. And based on the visual, based on what we see, I don't think he's being formal. He's just trying to sound intelligent, to sound smart. If you pay attention, if I am really picky with the grammar, there's a mistake, because I shouldn't say so good. Rarely does an image capture someone's personality so well. It's an adverb. I need an adverb. So well. So he's working hard to sound intelligent, to sound smart, but the so good at the end gives away that he's not that clever, he's not that intelligent. I'm not judging him, I'm just analyzing the context, okay? I didn't watch the movie, I don't know what's it about. But based on the visuals, based on the way he's talking, he's just trying to show he's smart, okay? And what do we need to pay attention about inversion? Sometimes you're gonna use inversion because you want to sound formal. You want to sound serious. Okay? It is a specific situation, and you want to demonstrate your level of formality. That's good. Sometimes you're going to use inversion to add emphasis, just to emphasize a situation, to get someone's attention to something. or because you're trying to sound smart. No problems with that. So we need to understand. Maybe you study English just so you can travel and feel more confident. So using inversion may not always be necessary. But if you're trying to impress someone, then it's a good idea, okay? Now, if you work and you are at a business conference, maybe using an inversion may sound like a good choice. So let's talk about inversion, okay? Inversions are used to add emphasis. At the end of the day, I want to highlight, I want to emphasize, stress a piece of information. It is mainly found in formal speech and writing. In a nutshell, we use it more in writing, in written language, academic papers, and academic discussions, but I can use in spoken language. Always keeping in mind that I want to add emphasis. And I will show you here in this lesson that some options of inversions are really popular in spoken language when the situation is not formal, okay? Not talking about a really casual situation, but not too serious, okay? And other ones are more common in formal communication. We use inversion after certain words. Can I use inversion with every possible word? Doesn't work that way. The more you advance, the more specific the explanations will be. And I cannot use inversion with everything. I mean, I can, but I need to pay attention to how common that is going to sound, how conversational that is going to sound. So pay attention to the ones I'm going to show you here. They are the most popular ones. There are others, but they complicate the explanation a little. These ones are easier to understand, okay? What is an inversion? When you use inversions, always think of a question. It's not a question, okay? It is not a question. But when I am using inversion, that's what I will do. I will use the structure of a question. And if you don't remember that, watch my lessons here on my channel. I have detailed lessons. I intend to bring more lessons about questions in English. But what is a question? Do you like sports? Do, auxiliary verb, subject, you, verb. Do you like? Have you been abroad? That's a question. And I will use this structure when I am using inversion, okay? Something like that. I will continue with the explanations. Now, I will use inversion after words with negative meanings. Very common, very common. But all words with negative meanings? No, not all words. The most popular ones are here for you. Adverbs, negative adverbs, such as never, rarely, seldom, barely, hardly, scarcely. No sooner, this is more like a phrase, no sooner, blah, 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 than. These ones, good. Okay, very good. Even in conversations, you will hear native speakers say this with a decent frequency, not all the time, but you will hear it, okay? Look at the example. I have never, normal phrase, I have never been so disrespected in my life. Let's say you go to a store and a saleswoman is very disrespectful to you. And you cannot believe it. That woman was so disrespectful to you. And then you're talking to that woman, you demand to speak to the manager. And then when the manager comes, you can look at the manager and you can say, I have never been so disrespected in my life. That woman is unbearable. This is a good moment to use inversion because you're using never, okay, negative word here, never, and you want to add emphasis. You're annoyed. And you want to show you're posh. You know how to use language. So look at the inversion. You start with never. Remember, I cannot do this with all the words. I'm showing you the most popular ones. And never, it's good. Never. Now here comes the question structure. I have. Have I? That's a question. Have I been disrespected? Never have I been so disrespected in my life. Now, one important thing you need to do here is to pay attention to your intonation. Never have I been so disrespected in my life. So I need to add a little bit more emphasis, a little bit more energy. I'm not saying you're going to speak like a clown or a Hollywood actress. I'm not trying to imply you should use extremely exaggerated language. No, but you do need to add a little bit more energy because here you were just disrespected by someone at a public place. You need to show a little bit more energy. Never have I been so disrespected in my life. What the hell is going on in this place? I demand to talk to your manager. There you go. You can also use these things, these words, never, the inversion sentence to talk about good things, okay? I will give you more examples, don't worry. But talking about annoying things, embarrassing things, unexpected things, that will be really popular. Moving on. A few more examples. Oh, look, I have never seen such a beautiful sunset. That's actually good. I'm surprised. I have never seen such a beautiful sunset. Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Imagine you are in New York City. You're watching the sunset. Then you have your friend or your partner, and you watch the sunset together. You smell good air, good energy around you, and then you see the sunset, you watch. You look at your partner and you can say, wow, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset, such a mesmerizing sunset. I did draw the picture here, I did paint a picture. So it can be used with positive things, okay? Actually, I got these examples from movies, so they're really nice. We rarely eat out during the week. Now, this is really common. No inversion. We rarely eat out during the week. Good, wonderful. Actually, I encourage my students to use rarely. That's a good adverb, okay? But do I want to add inversion? I can. Rarely do we eat during the week. Now, remember that I said you need to think of a question. If we look at the original sentence, it's in the present. We rarely eat. Rarely eat, that's simple present. What is the auxiliary verb for the present, for the pronoun we? Do we? Do we eat out during the week? Then I just add rarely. Rarely do we eat out during the week. That's good. So that's why you need to remember the auxiliary verb and question structure. Am I going to do this with every possible question, every possible word? No, remember, these are the most popular ones. Rarely, never. With present perfect, it's very common when you're talking about things that have never happened to you. Never have I been, well, it's the first time. Never have I been so disrespected in my life. That's the gist. We seldom is rarely. It's just another way to say rarely, but it's very common, okay? Make sure to use it. Seldom do we get the opportunity to witness the art we love. I got this from a movie, okay? I was watching some movie scenes and then I got the inversion. When I was studying inversion, I actually started watching many movies and TV show scenes to get phrases, to get examples. Because what I teach my students is what I do. To learn a lesson, I must use it. I must have context. And the guy, I think he was in New York. I don't know if he was in New York. It looked like New York. He was on the bridge and he was looking at the sky and then he was thinking. He was not even speaking. You could just hear the voice. And he said, seldom do we get the opportunity to witness the art we love. What is the original? Without inversion. We seldom get to see the art we love. Get the opportunity to witness. Sorry, I changed the example. The original is get the opportunity to witness the art we love. So seldom do we, because he's talking about the present, okay? His original phrase is present. Seldom do we get. Here, past perfect, he had scarcely. Scarcely is very similar to barely, okay? He had scarcely arrived when everyone began asking questions. So he had just arrived. and everybody was already asking questions. My gosh. So this is very good. Scarcely had he or I arrived. Very common in the past perfect, and simple past. Very common even in spoken language, okay? But especially when you're describing things. He had scarcely arrived when everyone began asking questions. That's the non-inversion sentence. Now, with inversion, scarcely had he arrived when everyone began asking questions. So, what is the auxiliary here when I'm asking a question with past perfect? Just the participle of have, had. I had been, had I been. I had gone, had I gone. Okay? This explanation is basic. The position of words in a question, okay? We had no sooner left the house than it started raining. Now, no sooner blah 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 than is a more polished structure. Not many students use it, but I had to show it because it is quite popular, very popular in spoken language, but you will see this a lot in books, in novels, very common written language as well. No sooner had we left the house than it started raining. Past perfect and simple past. Remember that I do this combo when there is one action before the past action. I describe one thing that happened before, I do that with past perfect, and then I add another one, simple past. And I am talking about both. So one had just happened, and then the other started to happen. That's the idea. No sooner had we left the house than it started raining. And it's then with the letter A, okay? Then. Nice. Important observation. Never, rarely, and seldom are usually used with do, does, did, or a few other auxiliary words, okay? Now, barely, hardly, scarcely, and no sooner are commonly used with past perfect. All the examples I showed with these guys were with past perfect. They are more common. Does that mean that you can only use past perfect? No, you can use other ones, but it is more popular to use them with past perfect, okay? Now, the other ones, such as never, rarely, you will see with present perfect, simple past, simple present, you name it. You need context. Now, guys, prepositional phrases at no time, on no account, under or in no circumstances, in no way. So, example, you should not talk to strangers under any circumstances. It's a negative phrase, so I'm not using no, I'm using any, okay, because it's negative. But you will see that when I invert, it becomes a question. It's not really a question, it's just emphasis. So then I go back to no, okay? So look at this. You should not talk to strangers under no circumstances. Under no circumstances. Now I use no. And I need to add emphasis. This is very good in spoken language, okay? Under no circumstances whatsoever should you talk to strangers, young lady. Let's say it's your daughter going out for the first time alone with her friends at night. That's a good place to use this phrase, huh? At no time, at any moment, okay? At no time should you talk to strangers, young lady. Huh. There you go. In no way should you talk to strangers, young lady. Pay attention. That's the idea. These are really good examples as well. A few more examples. His apology was in no way sincere. This is the regular position. His apology was in no way sincere, was absolutely not sincere. That's the idea. If I use inversion, in no way was his apology sincere. Remember, when I'm using verb to be, I invert the position between be and the pronoun or the subject. He was. Question, was he? You are. Question, are you? I am. Question, am I? So in inversions, I will use this structure, okay, of interrogative sentences. Regular, you may not park here overnight under any circumstances. Under no circumstances may you park here overnight. Another one, we were at no time in any danger. At no time we were in any, at no time were we in any danger. Make sure to do the exercise I give you at the end. It'll help you fully understand this lesson, okay? Before I continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Perhaps share this video with a friend. I know many students need grammar lessons to study, to help them on the journey. So this lesson can be quite beneficial. And if you're interested, I have other programs. My Academy is my main program, but I also have my study plan with video lessons and a complete guidance on how to organize the way you study, especially if you study alone and you need a plan that is more budget friendly to help you focus on the journey to fluency. Check out the link in the description, but let's roll. Moving on. Oh, I need to get more slides. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show these slides. Let's see. Let's add more slides because there are more. Quite a few more, guys. Sorry about that. I think I added them now. I'm adding these slides as I speak. I need to add, okay. Okay. I think now you're going to have all the slides, okay? Let's see. I covered these ones already. All right. Yes, we did. Inversion in conditional sentences. This is really a very advanced lesson. If you're getting a little confused, it's probably because it's too advanced for you. But I did alert you guys, okay? Now, conditionals were, should, and had instead of hypothetical conditional, instead of if. I don't use if. I will use were, should, had. I'll show you the examples. If you had been more careful, this wouldn't have happened. This is the third conditional. If you had been more careful, this wouldn't have happened. I will change only the if clause. I remove if, bye-bye if, and I invert had. Had you been more careful, this wouldn't have happened. Quite popular in spoken language, okay? To add emphasis, not to sound so formal, but to add a bit more emphasis, then absolutely you do that, okay? A few more examples. If you need any help, let me know. Ooh, good for business. Should you need any help, please let me know. That's wonderful. So this is very, very common language in emails, in conversations. Maybe you are on the phone with a prospect and you want to use this language. I highly recommend, okay? So another example here. If I had known about the traffic, I would have left earlier. Had I known about the traffic, I would have left earlier. Second conditional. I think this one is more familiar to most English learners at a B1, B2 level. If she were in your position, she would accept the offer. Were she in your position, she would accept the offer. So the second part doesn't change. It's only the first with the if clause. Only the if clause changes. And it's a very simple change. You remove if. Simple. Remove if and invert the position between verb to be or the auxiliary had and the subject. So were she in your position, she would accept the offer. Priscilla, I learned that the verb to be for she in the past is was, not when you're talking about conditionals. If I'm talking about conditionals, if she, I don't use was. Well, with a few exceptions, but in general, I use if she were, if I were, if he were, then it's okay. All right? Let's see. Am I in the right place? Okay. All right. Important observations. In negative clauses, okay, this is important, okay, guys? If you're studying English for more academic purposes, maybe you're going to university or you need it for academic reasons. I've helped many students in my academy, my programs that needed English for college, for university. Then when you're using inversion with had, for example, you don't contract. Hadn't if it's a negative phrase. If you hadn't been so stubborn, we would have helped you sooner. Had you not been so stubborn, we would have helped you sooner. In conversations, I can. If it's something lighter, like just a discussion, a conversation, hey, hadn't you been so stubborn, we would have helped you sooner. So for conversational situations, then you can contract the negative of had not, hadn't. So that's just a slight observation here. Now, when are you going to use inversions? In everyday conversations, okay? There are some types that are more common than others, but I do like when you're using rarely, never, should you, they're very popular, or the conditional ones, had I been more careful, this wouldn't have happened. They are really popular in conversations, but especially when you want to really add emphasis. So you're in a casual conversation with friends and you're just talking about something really casual, I don't recommend, okay? If you are in a group of people that you're trying to impress, you're not so familiar with them and they are having a higher level of communication, then you might want to add, but not all the time. Otherwise, it's just going to sound awkward if in every 3 sentences you add an inversion or try to use an idiom or an expression. That's a problem with English learners that are trying to reach an advanced level. They think that to be advanced, they have to add a different word every 2 seconds. That's not what advanced means, okay? And when you want to add emphasis, that's wonderful. When you're talking to a customer, when you're making a presentation, when you're at a job interview, then these are situations when I would picture using an inversion sentence, but not all the time, okay? Always keep that in mind, not all the time, because you're just going to come off as awkward. Because even native speakers don't do that all the time, okay? I've been watching Friends again to practice my pronunciation, vocabulary, and I have seen a few inversion sentences in Friends. So you see, depending on the emphasis, you will find these inversion examples, okay? That's very important. Now, guys, what is the exercise? I gave you the situations here, the types of words, the prepositional phrases, and based on the ideas I gave, the situations, the hypothetical ones, the if clauses, I want you to rewrite these sentences. Now, why am I doing this with you? If you were a student in my academy, we would do this differently. I wouldn't give you this exercise, rewrite the phrases. I don't like this exercise, not my favorite, okay? My favorite is creation. My favorite is when I teach my students in my academy, that's what I do. I teach them a grammar lesson, they have to create all the phrase to me while connecting with their life. And then I will analyze and give them proper correction and feedback. As you're not a student, you're watching this live on YouTube, that's all right. That's good. You can practice the inversion sentence by rewriting these sentences. They are all regular sentences and you're going to practice inversion based on what I showed. So rewatch the lesson, pay attention, and then rewrite the sentences here and post them in the comments. Number 1, if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask. Number 2, if you had studied more, you would have passed the exams. I have rarely met anyone with such resilience and dedication. My manager's decision was in no way fair. I had no sooner arrived home than my boss asked me to rush back to the office. She has rarely made any serious mistake. I have never felt so much joy in my life. If my parents were here tonight, they would be proud of me. His book recommendation was in no way helpful. I had scarcely finished the exam when the bell rang. These are the ones for you to change, okay? Yes. Other than that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I know it was a little longer, but grammar lessons are usually longer. Take the explanations, review, take notes, and create examples. That's how you learn. Even when teacher Prix, when I was preparing these lessons, I sat down and I did the same exercise. I created examples, reviewed, studied, talked about my life, and then I came up with a lesson. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow with a masterclass. Bye-bye, guys.